Hello guys, welcome to part 2 of our Samhain special. I am Titania Faye. It's very nice to meet you if you haven't already connected with me before. I am part of a husband and wife psychic medium duo known as the Gypsy and the Witch. You can find a list of Paul and my services at www.thegypsyandthewitch.com. We have services, subscriptions, events, talks, workshops, retreats, and many, many more things I can't think about. I wanted to do something a little bit different for the month of October with YouTube. We've had it for maybe a year, if that, around a year, possibly. Possibly not. And we quite often put up videos here or there, which is usually pulling out cards. Everyone loves a card read and a bit of guidance, don't they? Especially when it's free. Why not? But I just want to do something a little bit different and actually give you a bit more of a feel of me and who we are and what we're about as well. I'm sure there's definitely lots of other spooky fans that like this time of year as well, whether you connect with Halloween or whether you connect with Samhain or whether you just like the autumnal season. It's just nice to have that connection and know that there's other people out there that also are fans of October. Samhain. October definitely is my favourite month of the year. Forget birthdays, forget Christmas, forget bonfire night. I like Halloween. It seems to be the one time of the year that is completely acceptable to walk around wearing a witch's hat. Don't have one on today, mind. Maybe tomorrow's video, maybe. So why am I here today? What am I going to talk to you about? I'm just going to talk to you actually a little bit about Samhain throughout history. History has always been my favourite topic when it comes to anything to do with occultism, divination and spiritual goodness. But yeah, I thought I'd just talk to you a little bit about Samhain. So in modern day, the majority of people view Halloween, October, as Halloween, spooky season, which involves knocking at people's doors and saying trick or treat, and then most people give a sweet or two, possibly a penny or so, or perhaps give them a little trick. A trick? A trick. I meant a trick. Some people don't answer the doors. Some people don't knock at doors. By the way, disclaimer, just noting on here that I'm certainly not advising anybody to go knocking at strangers' doors. Just to make that perfectly clear. Mother mode on there. Just saying. But it's definitely also a time of year for spooky films, dressing up, apple bobbing. Do like a bit of apple bobbing. It's always fun. Something we've always done with our children. We usually have a Halloween party and we do apple bobbing with a big tub of water, and obviously the apples, you put your hands behind you, grab an apple, and whoever can grab that apple first is the winner. Yay! But what they don't realise is that they then have to go over to the next table, which is covered with flour and sweets like Haribo sweets, and they've got to keep their hands behind them and try and get those sweets off the table as well. By the time they look up, bless them, they're completely covered in like thick paste from the sweets and the flour and the water. But it's all fun, and obviously the children really enjoy it, as do adults alike. We definitely do donuts hanging on strings as well. That's a great one that we all really enjoy. We put up a gazebo outside, hang the donuts from the strings. Again, hands behind your back now, no cheating, wait for the timer to go. Woo! And it's really hard, trying to get the donut really quickly. Last year when we done it, we had one child who was just like, bang! I thought, wow, you must either love donuts. Had to pause for a moment there. Sorry, phone call coming in that I could not ignore. So that kid must love donuts or be very, very good at playing this game. But yes, so much fun to be had at Halloween parties indeed, especially the dressing up. It's very creative, it's expressionate, you decide who you want to be, what you want to be, and It's all part of that fun and games, isn't it? But again, separating Halloween from Samhain, we can consider with Samhain, what is Samhain all about? It is pagan festival, an ancient Celtic festival where we are connecting with our ancestors and honouring them. It's a fantastic time of year for looking into family trees, history, lineage, considering who in your family has walked this path, where they've been, what they've done, what did they achieve in life, what was their favourite meal, what was their best thing to do, what was they good at, what was their interests. Is there anyone in your family lineage that you can compare yourself to or consider you had similar interests, or was possibly the complete opposite of what sort of person you are now today? Where did they go? Where did they live? You could consider, if you're not too far away, stepping on your ancestors' land, walking on their footprints. I know when I've looked into my family heritage, I've got family that currently live in Hong Kong, in England, family that did live in Ireland, family that did live in America, all over the world, and even different places and locations in England, Northamptonshire, Warwickshire, all over the place. Biggleswade, London. I would definitely consider spending some time going to these places if you can. Maybe one place, as long as it's not too far away, it's not putting you out. And just connecting with that land and space and that ancestor, and just considering what life was like for them during that time period. You can also consider in general our ancestors and what life was like for them in the time period that they lived in compared to the time period that we live in today, the hardships that they might have had. If you think about things like livestock, if you think about farming, foods, finances, general health, they weren't able to just go to the supermarket and grab something for dinner. They weren't able to just call a doctor and ask for some help because they didn't feel well. They had to consider other remedies, other methods, other ways of living, and sufficient survival skills as well. Even considering housing, where did they live? How did they live? Who did they live with? So when we consider all of these aspects, what we're doing is we're actually honouring them. We're honouring those that come before us, those in our bloodline. But I think it's also important to mention something that a lot of people forget to mention when it comes to connecting with our ancestors, is that not all of our ancestors are positive for us to connect with. There is always going to be light and dark, good and bad. And there will definitely be some of your ancestors that you may not want to connect with. Maybe they done things that were wrong. Maybe they, or that you would consider to be wrong. Maybe they passed away of a real strong illness. You don't want to bring these sort of energies into the energy that you're working with. Some people will want to. Some people will want to learn about the balance of both sides, but some people may not want to. So I would definitely consider, when you're connecting with your ancestors, which ancestors you'd like to connect with and learn more about. Or if you're calling them in and working with that energy, connecting with that energy, you could maybe think of a mantra or some sort of phrase, for example, I only want to connect with my ancestors that are supportive of my life path. I only want to connect with ancestors that have pure intentions, that want to come into my energy in a positive way. So you can just consider that. It's definitely something that I would suggest considering when connecting with ancestors and with spirit realm. And of course, there is definitely people in spirit, in our spirit realm, that aren't just ancestors. We're talking about lineage, but we can also consider our spirit team. So those in the spirit world that are supporting us, that are not necessarily blood connections to us, not blood ancestors to us. When we think about, it might be that we have our own league or line, connection, a category of people in spirit world that we want to connect with that have walked the same path of us, maybe not through bloodline, family heritage, but for example, for myself, it might be other psychics, other psychic mediums, it might be other pagans, it might be mothers, it might be daughters, it might be sisters that aren't from my bloodline heritage, but I feel a natural connection to them and would like to connect with them. And again, our spirit team, again, everybody has different views and opinions. Some people say angels, some people say our spirit guides, some people say our spirit team, those that are in spirit, that are pushing us on, showing us those signs, appearing in our dreams, playing that blooming song over and over again so that we listen and stop ignoring the signs. We can create a little altar this time of year to support our connection with the spirit realm. It might be you want to put pictures out of people, again, ancestors, people you want to support that connection with. It might be that you put their pictures out on the altar. It might be you don't put any pictures out, but you put something symbolically representing that connection. It might be that you want to put out a cup of tea for them, a drink for them, some food. It might be that you want to just connect with the season itself rather than specific people in our spirit world. But it might be that you just want to connect with the season of release, reflection and pause. You can put conkers, you can put autumn leaves, you can put acorns, just nature-based items or colours, ribbons, candles, vegetables, root veg, pumpkins, any of these items just on your altar. If you haven't done an altar before, an altar is a sacred space. It's a little table, a little area that is just designated for that connection, that energy connection. And you can have an altar up all year round. Some people might just say it's a decorative corner rather than an altar. But again, it doesn't have to just be about connection with spirit. The reason why obviously I'm talking so much about that is because we are considering Samhain. Fires around Samhain and divination around Samhain are always considered. The reason being because fires are about cleansing and purification. Samhain, the end of October, is also known as the Witches' New Year. It is a time where, going back again to our ancestors' days, where there is evidence proving that they would pay off bills, get rid of taxes around this time of year because have a merry old time. They would want to release themselves from what they have gone through during that year and look forward to the year ahead. Our ancestors knew, again, as I mentioned, that we can just go to the supermarket and get foods. There wasn't these availabilities for them during them time periods. They used to rely on their livestock, their harvests. They would spent a long time throughout the year providing that nurture, that care, that time, that food, that water for their harvests to grow, their livestock. And this would be that final harvest out of the three, Lammas, Mabon and Samhain. Samhain would be that last one for them to use their essential livestock and harvests before the cold winter and the dark winter, the long winter, came about. Again, if you look at our animals, many of them go into hibernation over the winter, so they are in line with what our ancestors done back then, trying to get all those supplies and essentials ready for providing that them needs, them nutrients, them minerals, everything that they needed for themselves and their families over the cold dark winter ahead. Yes. So that's what it came to in terms of the foods. I mean, the jack-o'-lantern, I might talk a bit more about that one in the next video because I know time's going on a little bit. But the jack-o'-lantern, again, is tradition. It wasn't just a pumpkin initially that came about from. But it was meant to ward off spooky energies. The same as our trick and treats. Again, go back in time. They would have the need fire, which was where all of the villagers in the community, they would trick or treat, but it wasn't a case of trick or treating for fun and sweets. It was they believed they would do the face paint, or they would, you know, do the scary faces to ward off any negative energies, remembering that not everything is light. You don't want to invite everything in. It's about warding off them spooky energies as the veil thinned and spirit world is closer to us. And then they would go around collecting the wood from around the community, and they would burn it in a big communal fire known as the need fire. And that would be about purification and cleansing of any energies that they didn't want there, any negative energies, not just the spirit world, but also from the year that they have had, releasing, shedding, preparing for the new year, which again, October, Samhain, was deemed as the new year. The darker months and the new year ahead would go from the dark to the light. They would also consider the divination around this time, not just because the veil is at its thinnest, as it is at Beltane, by the way, the opposite side of the wheel of the year, opposite to Samhain. We have Beltane, Beltane, however you want to pronounce it is also fine. But yeah, they would do the fire for purification, and they would do the divination because it was the time that they wanted to consider, what's life going to be like for me over the winter? How can I look after my family and myself? What can I prepare myself for so that I can move forwards with a better understanding, a better mirror projection of life for me right now and for my upcoming events. So I feel like I've spoke quite a lot actually, with the 2 videos adding up. I presume I've probably met around 20 minutes again. I am very apologetic to those of you that may have been expecting a card read on this video. I'm not going to be uploading every day, but every couple of days I will upload a video, and I do hope that you enjoy what I speak about. Please drop your comments below. Do know that if I've got anything factually wrong by anybody's historical textbook, then, you know, we all just put out what it is that we understand and share. But I do hope that you've enjoyed listening to me. Please do, as I say, if you have not liked and subscribed, please do, even if it's just an energy exchange, like the video or just comment below. Boost my algorithm. Let me know what you thought of the video. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Much love and blessings. I'm Titania Faye, and I will see you soon. Bye, guys.